good ideas aren't enough. If they were, we would all be our best selves because all the good ideas would win and we would be having a wonderful time. But the reality is, good ideas only work if other people are persuaded to believe them. And persuasion is tricky for people. There's a bit of an art and a bit of a science, but I want to make it easier for you today. So I'm going to give you 4 tips that you can start using immediately to become more persuasive at work. And even if you can only do one of these tips tomorrow, you are already going to feel different and others are going to start to see you different in the workplace. Tip number 1, frame your information as a story. Now, I don't just mean tell more stories at work. That's kind of easy advice, but it's not really going to make you more persuasive because you might be telling stories that have nothing to do with the work that needs to get done. This advice is to frame your information as a story. Think of all of the stories that you've heard, whether that's a story someone told you, a movie you watched, a show, or a podcast. There is a rhythm. There is a flow. There is a reason you are hooked and want more. And that's because they use the framework of a story. Our CEO, Nancy Duarte, researched hundreds, thousands of speeches and presentations and stories and figured out what is it that moves people? And she uncovered that there is a form, there's a format, there's a formula to the great presentations, and that anybody could reshape their information into this form and it would make them more persuasive. We call it the spark line. And here's how it works. When you kick off a presentation, you want to tell people what is the state of their current reality to make sure you know and they know you're all understanding their problem or their situation in the same way. But then you quickly want to pivot to tell them what could be possible. What's a future world that would be available to them that would make their life better and easier? It would make them happier. And then throughout the rest of the presentation, you want to toggle back and forth between the tension and the pain of the current world and what's getting in the way against the relief and the joy of what could be possible if only they were persuaded to do what you want them to do, think what you want them to think, or feel the way that you want them to feel. That's the spark line. So when you're standing up to give a presentation at work, or maybe you're sitting down in a virtual meeting, reformat your information so you're going back and forth between that what is, what could be. You can do this even when you don't have a presentation. Every time you're in a meeting at work or you're going back and forth with colleagues or you're sharing ideas, pause, listen to what you're saying and ask yourself, do I need to drop it down a level to what is, or do I need to pick it up a level to what could be? Usually people stick too long in one of those. They're either really in the problem for way too long, or they spend a lot of time in the solve or the solution or the benefits. So even in dialogue or collaborative conversations, check in with yourself. Might you be better served by framing all of that information as a story? And our research tells us you absolutely will be. People are motivated by stories. They remember stories. And it's just more interesting to listen to that contrast back and forth than it is to listen to someone go on and on and on at the exact same level with the exact same type of information. Tip number 2, to being more persuasive, marvel at the message. You as the speaker, whether it's in a formal presentation setting or just in a meeting, have the power to almost step back and look at or listen to what you just said to help other people know how you want them to feel about that information. This is a tactic that I have seen Bill McDermott of ServiceNow do very well. So let's take a look at how he did this exact marveling at the message on the main stage.
So 21st century problems cannot be solved with 20th century architectures. Today, we face geopolitical conflicts. We have an amazing skills gap in the world. And now we have global tariffs to be concerned about. So it's impossible for you to react fast enough when 40% of office productivity is wasted as people swivel chair between 17 different application experiences a day. Blows your mind. And this is a productivity disaster. Are you feeling me?
It's almost like Bill steps outside of himself, outside of this moment of a presentation to have a reaction to what he just said. And that is a very powerful way to persuade other people. Sometimes people get distracted or they're scrolling or they're multitasking. But if you are in the middle of a flow and then you stop and go, wow, I am even shocked that we were able to get those results. It stops them from what they were doing, but also tells them exactly how they should be responding to the information. And that's going to make you more persuasive. The other way to marvel at the message is to marvel at other people's messages. So if you are in a meeting and someone is delivering a presentation or they're sharing a new idea or they're giving an update about results for something, you could be the person who raises their hand or come off mute or interjects and go, "Wait, say that again." That is powerful. So not only are you helping the speaker get more out of their message, you're showing up with a level of confidence. And that confidence reads as a more persuasive person. You're calling attention to greatness, and other people are going to start to notice you and know you as a person who speaks up when something is important. And that's a key part of being persuasive at work. Tip number 3, answer objections before other people can raise them. Persuasive communicators know that the people they're talking to at work are also smart. These are people that care about their jobs. They want to get it right. They want to hit big, audacious goals. And they understand that great workplaces, great cultures are full of people with different points of view, different experiences, and they bring different kinds of questions and objections to the table. So what great persuaders do is they know that before they even go in. They don't just craft a beautiful story, put beautiful visuals, and pretend that their idea is the best and only idea. They pressure test their idea before it gets in front of anyone. Sometimes that pressure testing can be done just by yourself. Take a step back and imagine you were the audience for this presentation. Put yourself in their daily world. What are their struggles? What are they concerned about? Think about the risks that would be relevant, good risks that we should probably talk about. Think about what could get in the way or hurdles or speed bumps that might happen that didn't make their way into your plan. But you want to show, I was thinking about those. And then find ways to weave those in. So you could do that by yourself, or you could get a confidant to sit with you for a rehearsal and tell them exactly what type of audience member. I want you to act like the CFO. I want you to act like the head of product. I want you to act like our prickliest customer when I deliver this. Listen with that frame of mind so that I can start to weave those objections in from the jump so we don't have to wait for them. Another way to help you with this is to use AI. You can create personas in AI and message test against it. Ask what are some holes that you might not have noticed, or what are red flags that someone could have brought up? And then you make sure that you yourself are ready to answer those. So there are a couple of different ways you can weave in the answers to objections before they already happen. A very common phrase to incorporate when you're speaking at work is, now you might be wondering about, it's a casual way to call attention to something they might be thinking. And if you're worried, well, what if they're not thinking about that? And I just brought up, it's fine because you're going to answer the objection anyway. Another technique to do this is to say, now there were 2 other ideas I considered before I landed here, and here's why they won't work. So now you didn't tell them you might be thinking, but instead you did the hard work of going after different solves first. And once you interrogated those solves, you offer to your audience, this is why that's not a good idea. And it's certainly not a better idea or recommendation that I'm presenting to you today. That's all the unsaid part. Just by saying there were 2 ideas I looked at and they're not going to work for these reasons, you've calmed some of that anxiety, that fear, or that pushback you might have gotten. This is an incredible way to make yourself more persuasive on a main stage or in a meeting room. And just in everyday conversations, you train yourself to be the person who's thinking ahead about why it might not work or what might work better. You tell other people you thought about it. And now they know when you come to them with an idea, they can trust you. The 4th tip is so crucial to persuasion, but most people don't do it. You got to make the ask. You have to ask for what you want people to do. Because if we step back and think about persuasion, the whole idea is moving people from believing, feeling, doing one thing to believing, feeling, doing something else. And it's your job as the person speaking to tell them what to do. So you have to be explicit here. You want to be clear, you want to be specific, and you want to make it as easy as possible for someone to do the ask. Otherwise, you're not going to be persuasive because you're not pushing people to do something different than they were doing before. Here are a couple of ways I've seen this done that I think work very well. I have been in rooms where the speaker will ask us to pull out our calendar and mark it with the time where we're going to do the thing they want. So if it's HR asking us to fill out a form, or if it's a leader asking us to watch a video, or if it's a learning and development professional wanting us to do something different in our workday than we were doing before. Open up the calendar and put it in there. I like this. This is a professional way. It's not super aggressive to say, everyone, I want you to open your calendar now and put it down. I've even had leaders send out the calendar invite and mark it as a free, not busy spot on the calendar, just as the reminder of this is the time where I want you to do the thing. Try that out. Another way is to come up with options for how someone could move forward based on what you just said. Come up with one that is very easy, that is simple, that makes it easy for them to try this out. Come up with one that's a little medium effort, and come up with one that's really, really hard. That way you're giving them choices based on wherever they are. People are more likely to be persuaded when they feel like they have some choice in it. But you've also at least been direct about ways that they can move forward on the path that you want to set them on. And since you framed it up as a story, and marveled at your own message and answered any objections before they happened, you're already on your way to persuading them. So landing that ask at the end is a perfect way to close out that interaction and set them off on a new course. So there you have it. 4 ways that you can start being more persuasive at work right now. I'm sure one of those stuck out to you. So what I want you to do is write it down and commit that in the next week, you're going to give it a shot. Can you reorganize some of your information into the frame of a story? Is there a place the next time you speak up in a meeting where you will commit to having a reaction to what you're said? I can't believe it. I'm so excited. Man, this was a bummer for me. Try it out. Are there objections you've never even thought to raise in front of the people you're speaking in front of that you could do sometime in the next week? Or is there an ask that you've never made and you could get more specific? Give it a try and leave us a comment to let us know how it goes. And if I just inspired you to want to know more about how to use story to persuade at work, Nancy made a video where she unpacks her TED Talk, which is approaching almost 4 million views, and it is all about the form and structure of presentation as story. Give it a watch. And if you like these type of tips, please subscribe to our channel and you'll be able to learn more. Good luck.